it, but not much going on over here. Like everyone's getting excited. It's been for the Sedins today.
Sedin week.
Sedin week, and today's the day that they're retiring the jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the gates open there. They expected an hour 45 minute ceremony.
Wow.
So that's what they're telling people to really be ready to for a long night if you're going doors open
What
up.
time does that start?
The game starts at 7:30, but they open the doors at 5.
So that's 10:30 my time, right?
Yeah. So I'm sure
Jeez.
the ceremony I think was starting at like 6, I think. But I don't know. Everyone's just talking about it. Honestly, I don't remember the Sedins being such a big deal. Obviously, it's
Mm-hmm.
because they're from Vancouver and they played here for so long. I just don't remember them being standout players from the other side of the country. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's
To,
because of the lull of when I stopped watching hockey for that short period of time.
maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, they were dominant the couple years that a few years they took them almost to the cup final.
Yeah,
They were always racked up over point per game, and like I think that part of it was just the uniqueness. Like when else have we ever seen twin brothers play together at a high level on the same team
that's
in
what
any sport?
they're saying today. Yeah, like it'll never happen again that two players, not let alone twins, two players just play on the same team for so long together.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I think they're like I
In the
forget how.
same line,
Yeah, same
not only
lines.
the same
Like
team,
even
but
before the NHL, right? Like when they're in
hmm
Sweden, they're playing the same line, same. And just the story that goes around how they got drafted, and just it would have been
yeah, I
cool.
love the story when they talk about Burke, how everyone else was focused on drafting one or the other, and how they thought they were going to play without each other, and Burke was one of the only guys who actually was planning to try and get
Both of them.
both of them, and apparently he also wanted the other pick in the top four or something. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's somebody insignificant. And apparently he loved all three, and he wanted all three, and he was desperate to try and get all three, and he missed on the one that sucked. So made him look like a genius.
Yeah, it worked out for him in the end.
Hmm.
What do you think? Do you think they have the Hall of Fame caliber?
Yep.
That's
I think that they're a piece of history, no matter how you slice it.
yeah.
So because they're a piece of history, they should be in the Hall of Fame. It's like
You can't write hockey history without including their names in it, kind of thing, right?
exactly, or like telling a story, like the whole chapter of the good Canucks from whatever year it was, the last decade before this one,
Mm-hmm.
or whenever that was. I don't remember the time frame, but a few years back when they were really good, that was kind of them, right?
2011, yeah, is when they went to the Cup.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think that they could go on a run. Could be interesting to see what Vancouver does, as long as they don't riot.
What a stain on the city, man. It's also today is a big talk around here because it's the 10-year anniversary of the opening ceremony
Hmm.
for the Olympics. So that happened today as well. It's kind of weird. Of all the cities, I find it strange that Vancouver was the one that rioted. I think it's just a bunch of people taking the opportunity. I guess that's what most riots kind of are, but
A lot of the riots are people that aren't even from that city. They just use an excuse to go do stupid things,
yeah,
cause a
commit some crimes.
dark
Yeah,
stain on it, and then just peace out to wherever they came from. So it's kind of
criminals.
crappy. Come out from everywhere.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, where do you want to start? We got lots of stuff. Start around the NHL first before we get to the Canadian teams.
Yeah, what do you mean by just go around the NHL in general?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing I think we should touch on is Jay Bouwmeester. Like that was some pretty crazy shit. I don't know if you were watching it live or anything, but
I was not watching it live, but like I found out it's like it's one of those things where it makes you think like it's more than just a game of hockey at that point, right?
hmm
I was scrolling the Twitter sphere like I like to do when I'm sitting on my couch, and I just see a tweet from the Ducks saying we're sorry for the blah blah blah. The game is going to be postponed. I'm like, man, this game was just in the first period. That's weird.
hmm
So immediately I go to the live stream and they're just talking. I don't listen. I immediately rewind to when they're playing. and
Mm-hmm.
then it's going, and I'm getting like flashbacks here. I'm like getting a little antsy because I'm worried I'm gonna see something kind of graphic.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where my head at. I'm worried I'm gonna see like Zednik getting his throat cut or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the live broadcast, it happened during commercial break, so you don't see anything except
Mm-hmm.
they're playing. I'm watching. I knew it was Bouwmeester at the time. I didn't know it was him. So I'm watching him on the ice on the shift right before it happened, I guess. So I'm kind of waiting for something freaky to happen, and it doesn't, and then it goes to commercial, and then it just comes back from commercial, and they're all like standing on the ice, saying something
Hovering
happens.
around or whatever. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird how they're gonna like credit the period played basically in the 1-1 score, but they're gonna start a full new game. Like I don't know why they wouldn't have just said, you know what, that happened. Let's just start fresh. It was 1-1 anyways. It was basically the same as 0-0. So
I don't know
just
why
start
they
fresh.
can't do it. Like, doesn't baseball start games in the middle sometimes?
Sometimes, but it's a logistical nightmare for fans and stuff.
Yeah, I guess
And
selling tickets. Yeah, I
realistically, you
guess.
lose a chunk of people who don't come back, and more importantly, the chunk that doesn't come back, it's the concessions you lose out on, right? Them buying a couple pops and some popcorn or
Yeah,
something.
that's a
That's the
good
money
point.
that comes out of your pocket.
Be interesting. Like, I know it's kind of weird to talk about, but like, how does it that game impact fantasy? Yahoo. Do you like
Yeah, and
because when that game
actually,
gets played, do you you just pick up the guys that already scored a goal and you get a free goal? Like,
well, that's what's going to be interesting, and that's where Nick and I went directly to yesterday, as bad as it is. But
yeah,
I was saying that I came from a slightly different angle. I came from goalie appearances. And I was like, what happened if this was on a Sunday,
yeah.
one of the last weeks, and you had an appearance? Like, for me, example, I had Bennington. Bennington
Oh,
starting the game as if it played. So he appeared. So, like, I don't care because it's whatever at the beginning of the week, whatever. But, like, if that's what cost you your season because you didn't add another goalie and you missed your minimum starts, like, that's kind of
yeah.
bull.
It's
That's
kind
kind
of
of
weird. It's one of those unique circumstances, right? It's
hmm
so weird.
And like Yahoo could never really have a backup plan for a situation like that because you never know the outcome, right?
Hmm.
I'm sure there would have been a completely different outcome had he like passed away or something. Like I'm sure, things would be a lot different right now. But thank God he didn't. Like,
Thank God. Yeah. The credit goes to those people, those medical staff. Like everything seemed like boom, 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 boom. Everything just was good.
well, they're saying here, want to say it was Bob McKenzie or Darren Drake or somebody on the radio was saying like if you're gonna have a medical episode,
That's the
probably
best.
one of the best places in the world to have one is at a hockey rink. Like
Yep.
people practice like trial run these situations
Yep.
to what they need to do. So it's just a well-tuned machine and it happens and there's no situations where people are caught off guard of what they really need to do and those seconds can really be the difference, right?
Yeah, and like the defibrillator or whatever is right there on the bench. Like
Hmm.
it's as close as it can be.
It's
The
just
trained
it's
staff, like you said, and
in
like
local rinks, like it always is pointed out now. It's required in every local rink, and there's signs everywhere, and it says here's the defib, and like I don't know about you. Do you have any training for any of it?
I got trained on it like when they were first coming out, like forever ago. They're pretty, from what I remember, they're pretty
Hmm.
straightforward
It
how to
basically
use.
tells you what to do. There's an
Yeah,
audio thing too,
yeah,
and it says take the paddles out, and do this, and make sure this and that, and whatever.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It like I said, it makes you realize the game. There's things bigger than the game, and it's just, it seems weird. I don't know if it's just because I'm so close to hockey that it feels like this kind of thing has happened a lot more in hockey than other sports, but
Well, you got to think too. It's kind of like football in the sense where it's like go hard, calm down. Go hard, calm
yeah,
down. And like they do
basketball's a
the
little
smelling
more
salts and they
running.
do these yeah. Uh,
They do
but they do like
sound.
smelling salts and
They
all these
do.
other things. Oh, in hockey for sure.
What does smelling salts do? I don't.
So it's the idea of it is to make you more attentive and more aware.
Oh,
I've tried some recently. A guy I play hockey with brings them sometimes, and
just like
like
white shock, like a shock to the system kind of thing.
it's like you're smelling vinegar or something. Like it's just like whoa, like you're instantly just like okay, like some people like
Yeah,
smell it right on their nose. I get it like this close, and I'm like, oh crap! Like I'm probably super sensitive to it, but like,
it's probably like
well,
anything.
I wear a
You get a tolerance.
yeah, I wear a cage, and the guy will jokingly wave it in front of me, like when he's walking by, while my cage is on, and it bothers me, not in
Yeah,
necessarily a bad way, but I can. It's like whoa, and so it's at least 3 or 4 inches away from my face, so it's pretty potent, and it works, it works, but it's just supposed to, I guess, just like alert your senses and stuff like
okay.
that.
I even realize that was a thing.
But it's like there's I don't know if this is true or not, but I can't remember exactly. One of the particles of it is like linked to cocaine or something.
Oh,
So like there's similar compounds or and part of it as there is in cocaine.
yeah.
So
Do you think anything changes in the NHL because of this? I don't see what could, unless they come out with something that caused it or something. But other than,
no, I mean I think it's gonna happen.
yeah, it's gonna
I
happen in
mean,
anything. Yeah,
yeah, these athletes like they're fine tuned, right?
they push
Like
their bodies to the limits.
yeah, so like sometimes bodies just kind of get pushed too far and shut down. It's like maybe he's an older guy. He's played a lot of hockey.
Yeah,
Who
he's been
knows?
around for a long time. Yeah,
Maybe he played in a tennis tournament last week or something and just kind of pushed himself too hard. Like those kind of things we don't know, right?
yeah.
Like it could be a lot of things. It's
Can't
just
remember if St. Louis is on a back to back or not.
yeah, I don't remember. I want to say they weren't because I think they had two back-to-backs the week before.
Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah.
No, they had a couple days off actually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, it's good to see that he's okay. It's good to see that they're fast acting. It's just good to see the
Yeah.
proof that people are there to help these injuries, not only these ones, but when we see these skate cuts and stuff like that, which I think that's the next major step in the NHL is to
Neck guards.
not necessarily neck guards, but kind of, but like more skin protection from blades because like blades other than flying into the boards or taking like a hit to the head, the blades are the most dangerous thing on the ice, right?
Yep.
So like in situations where there's been cuts that have happened, they've all been flukes. They've all been situations where you couldn't have been like, oh well, we could have prevented it this way. It's somebody falling where the blades come up off the ice where they're not supposed to be, and usually it's in a puck battle, so there's bodies and like we don't need to see somebody die on the ice. We don't need to see when we can prevent it. But I can understand, especially from playing myself, like everybody is anal about everything they have and the order they put it on and like the thickness of the clothes. And like some guys like long sleeves, some don't. So like a guy who wears long sleeve shirt, it would be easy. Just change the material to a cut proof material.
Yeah, like
goes down
That's
to
exactly
your
what I
wrist.
was thinking, like a latex skin tight.
Yeah.
It's like an extra layer of skin, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, most guys wear like an Under Armour layer. So just instead of it being like fabric, just try and find a way to make a lightweight woven meshed protector. Or at least the whole thing doesn't have to be, but at least like around the wrists, under the armpits, up a little, make the neck come up a little bit higher, and it can be not necessarily a neck guard, but it's a neck.
It boggles my mind that some of these guys wear like no face, like they're. I just don't get it. I personally don't understand.
Yeah, it's especially a defenseman.
Anyone that,
A guy I know, I grew up playing hockey with him, and he's a forward, but I guess he was playing defense this one night because they needed him on D. And I mean, when you're not necessarily as comfortable on D or when you don't play a D as much, you can put yourself in situations where you like tip the puck up into yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to this guy is he was playing defense and he had just taken his cage off a couple weeks before. And there was a kind of shot from what he told me, shot from the corner kind of thing. And he tipped it up into his own face and he like fractured his jaw and lost some teeth and stuff like that. Like a couple weeks after he decided to take the cage off.
Yeah.
So like myself, I wear a cage just like people used to chirp me all the time, but like this tooth's fake. I've already had it knocked out of my face.
Yeah.
So like I don't need to be in a dentist chair any longer. So like I just wear the cage.
I'd wear a cage too. Like I never got to an age where you were allowed anything but a cage, but
yeah,
I'd still wear one if I was
in pickup. The one that my dad and I run, we don't really mandate anything, nor does the school that we play at, other than obviously you have to wear a certified helmet.
Yeah.
But like I would say if you asked me about 7-8 years ago, I would say at least 50% of the people did not wear anything, like no visor, no cage, just a bucket. I would say less than 10% now wear nothing. There's probably 2 guys that wear nothing, and there's probably 3 or 4 guys, 5 guys that wear a visor. There's probably like 12 or 13 guys who wear a cage.
I think, who was it, the Leaf, the Sergei Berezin, who got the stick in the eye?
No, Brian Berard.
Yeah.
Brian Berard. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember that so vividly that it would, from that date on, I never understood not wearing like your eyes, man.
Mm-hmm. And like that's all it takes, right? I mean, they all have insurance, so like if that
happens, yeah, fair enough.
Or whatever.
You would hope they had insurance back then. Some people, like, you never know.
Yeah, if you're a professional hockey player and you got there and now you can't play for 8 more years of your career just because you lost an eye, like not just because, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you lost the memories and your name's in the history book potentially. Yeah, sure, maybe you got the money that you're going to get, but like it kind of ruined his career, I felt. But it's dangerous. I mean, it's a fast-paced sport and people move at a fast pace. It's only going to get quicker.
Yeah, it's only getting quicker. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I think it's only a matter of time before they have to do something radical. Like I'm talking probably 10, 15 years down the road, but like within probably a decade, I wouldn't be surprised if they started like going to like Olympic ice or went 4-on-4. I think that would be impossible because of roster sizes and stuff like that.
Yeah, the NHLPA would lose their shit.
Yeah, they wouldn't allow that. So that's not necessarily a good idea. But like just throwing.
Do you think the Olympic size ice changes much though? Doesn't it make it more open and technically going faster?
Yes, I
guess
it creates more room for speedy, skilled players and less room for big, slow players. But it can lead to more trolley track hits because people can get that half second of comfort being like, oh, I'm in the clear. Oh, shit. No, I'm not. As opposed to, I know I'm not in the clear. I'm just going to keep assuming I'm not in the clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's been times where I've found that where it's like you have that extra second and you're like on a normal rink, you'd either already have been hit so you wouldn't have gained the speed, so you're not getting yourself in a dangerous position, or those are the hits where somebody commits to it and then somebody tries to get out of the way and then all of a sudden they turtle, or people get hurt because they get hit weird and it's not body to body, it's like limbs, and then it can get dangerous that way. So like I can understand that negative part of it, but like I think there's going to be a point in time where the sport's got to do something. Like people are just getting faster. Like I heard some stat, I don't know what it is, but they're talking about Usain Bolt. And they're just talking about his fastest speed to ever run the 100 meter or whatever.
Yeah.
If they took off like, I want to say it was 2/3 of a second or like 3/4 of a second off of his time, they say that the muscle will rip off of bones and the flesh and whatever, like in a human body. Like just they're saying capable. That like they're saying the capabilities of the human body, he's at like the 98 and a half percentile. So like he at some point cannot run faster because of his leg will blow up basically, right? So if you want to think of that and put it to hockey, I would say hockey's probably only somewhere in the 60s right now. 60s, 70s. So like eventually it's going to get up into the 80s, high 80s and like something's going to have to be done. I don't know what, obviously the sport from now over the next 10 years could change completely a lot, but like I think that there will be a point in time where the sport's really got to step back and think of like how can we make the game even better than where it's at? Because the NHL's small, right, compared to the NFL, compared to the MLB,
Like market cap, yeah.
NBA. Yeah. So, I mean, MLB's in the off season from all the other sports, so it's kind of unfair because it gets a lot of the market share that
Yeah,
bored people or whatever.
Just for lazy summer days.
Yeah, something to do on Sunday mid afternoon.
Yep.
While you're barbecuing or something.
Crushing some beers, yeah.
I was curious. I wanted to get your take. The other day, the Leafs ran 7D.
Oh, they did.
And yeah, when they won Liljegren's first game, so like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, kind of thing. I don't remember exactly when it was. Maybe even as far as 10 games ago, but I want to say it's 5-6 games ago. The Leafs have been running their guys, like their top guys, a lot of the time, and if you're paying for them, you might as well use them. I'm curious to see it and want to get your take, like moving forward in the NHL. Like, do you think they're going to start seeing more of this, where like teams maybe carry an extra defenseman that does a certain role, or kills penalties or something, or carry one less forward because they've got studs up front? Do you think that
I can see it, like
that kind of creativity?
I don't know, like if you have that fourth liner that plays 8 minutes, because some teams have it. Like Ryan Reeves is a prime example. 8 minutes he averages probably, and why not have a defenseman in that? Like they're typically cheaper to carry, and like you said, you can use them in special roles like penalty kill. Like I could definitely see it.
And you can see Florida right now where they have what's his name, Pissick and Matheson, two defensemen playing on the wing.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, they've got two defensemen on the fourth line, flanking Nola Chari. So it's funny because like they're pushing him up, but like it would be interesting because like I think it was the game before Liljegren played. It might have been after. I want to say it was against Carolina. Somebody was out of the lineup, so they played Timashov. But I think Timashov played like 4 minutes and like 40-something seconds.
Yeah.
That's like what, like 6-8 shifts tops? So like the next game they brought Liljegren in and ran 7 defense.
I don't know. The Leafs were having a lot of trouble defensively. I don't know if they maybe felt people were just putting too much minutes in. Definitely because they're pretty young, most of them, right? Get cut back on some of their minutes, keep them well rested. They're always on top rest when they're going out there. I don't know, like.
Let's face it, defense get hurt more from like little things like block shots and slashes and like getting run into the end boards and stuff like that. Yeah. And like you can use more defensemen. A lot of defensemen take more penalties than forwards. Maybe not necessarily wingers, but I'd say.
I have to admit, like I like the way the Leafs have been deploying. Like Matthews, for instance. Like sure, he has a set line, but he's also out there with like he'll be the first one out there from his line. He'll play like the crossover. He's just getting way more minutes than he ever was. And I don't know, like why not cut that forward? Give Matthews, Marner, Nylander, all those guys more minutes.
That's exactly my thought, and that's where I was coming from. Is that like if you cut out a forward, that's let's say 8 minutes. So that's let's pick 15 shifts that you have to then divide amongst everyone else. So that's 3-4 more shifts for Matthews, Tavares, and Nylander and Marner. Like,
to make a big impact.
Why not? And then get yourself a defenseman who literally just blocks shots and plays on the penalty kill.
I don't know. I've always been excited watching this new Leafs team because I know they approach the game differently than the average team, like just analytic wise, their approach. I've liked watching them. I've never been a huge Leafs fan, but I've very much enjoyed ever since they brought Shanahan in. Even just watching
that's when the change happened.
Yeah, it's watching the culture change and everything change. It's been slow, but it's been interesting and entertaining to watch. And steady. Yeah, and I think they're doing what's necessary. It's also fun watching the roller coaster that is Leaf fans from the sidelines. That's always entertaining.
I mean, we can get more into the Leafs in a little bit, but the one thing I wanted to add there before I forgot was the one thing that gives me confidence about the Leafs, and regardless of the outcome and this fact that they're blowing these leads late, Sheldon Keefe, when he came to the Marlies, his record was incredible. Ever since he's left the Marlies, which he only lost a couple players off the team, the Marlies have been trash.
Have they?
They've been trash. Like I don't know their exact record. I've kind of stopped paying attention to them over the last month and a half because they've been so trash. But I want to say since he's left, they've played like 30 games or 25 games, and I want to say they have like 7 wins.
Wow. And they're like always near the top, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they went all of December without a single home win or something like that. But I mean, in fairness, you do have the changeover from the coach. Like, you got to learn new systems.
Yeah.
And the guy that came in didn't go behind the bench immediately. He came in and watched and then decided what he wanted to do. So like, it took a little longer than you would normally expect to. But the breakdown of the statistics, if you actually look at them, it's pretty incredible because it shows that he took that team and made it the best it could be. So that shows that he's going to take this team and do whatever he needs to do to make it the best it can be. Not like Babcock, who was trying to make it some best team he thought it could be.
He's trying to take... It's like he was trying to take this team and make it his old team.
Yeah. Oh, I won this way.
Or like the same model over and over and over. You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. But I brought it up earlier in the chat too that I think it's hilarious, this whole hockey stick shortage. I mean, the reasoning's not hilarious.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't see me?
No.
Okay, so I was reading a story that so hockey sticks right now. There's normal hockey sticks that like you and I can pick off the shelves.
Yeah.
And then there's ones which they call pro stock. Pro stock would be, okay, this player likes that stick, that would be the one you and I would get, but then he wants a reinforced toe, he wants an altered kick point, and he wants a reinforced shaft. Maybe he wants it, a half inch longer and 10 more flex on it. So that would be his pro stock of that normal stick.
Yeah.
The pro stocks are ordered directly from the manufacturer because like true one piece composites are made as a one piece. There's no seam, and that's how you can tell the difference.
Okay.
So when these players are ordering them, basically they're a few games away from having a shortage and not being able to get these pro stock sticks because everybody's manufactures in China, except for Warrior. Warrior has their manufacturer in Mexico.
Okay.
So sorry to backtrack a little bit. The reason why there's a shortage is because of this virus.
Coronavirus. I figured that's what.
That it's stopping export.
Yeah, because they can't export.
Yeah, they can't export it, right? So there's limitations on that. So depending on how long that lingers and continues to stop that, there could be a point where NHL players cannot get the sticks they've been using for X amount of time. Some players won't care. Some players will. Who was it? I heard the story the other day. Oh, Mike Green, I think it was, the year where he was killing it. Yeah. There was a shortage of his sticks, and he hated all the other sticks he was trying to switch to, but they had used a bunch of his sticks and signed them and given them away to fans and stuff. So they sent a message out to all the fans saying, hey, if you have one of these sticks, bring them back. We'll pay you for them and replace it with a new one and give you like a voucher for whatever, because Mike Green wanted these sticks, and he ended up using these signed sticks in hockey games because he hated the other sticks.
That's ridiculous.
So, like, that's one end of the spectrum, right? So like there are guys out there who are that particular about sticks. So like if you're given the option, okay, you've been using this stick for a year or 3 years or 6 months,
it makes total sense.
Go Warrior or just go pick one off the shelf. If they pick ones off the shelf, they'll snap them all the time, and like their shots will be off, their passes will be off, their stick handling will be off. Like, it could be a big crisis.
Like Harry Potter, you got to pick that perfect wand.
Yeah, exactly.
With the unicorn.
So I find that very interesting because I used to be really into sticks, so I used to follow it really closely. But it's just interesting because if it does turn into a crisis, it could become a big story, and Warrior could be in for a huge boost in.
Yeah, I gotta look up Warrior stock and like start.
I think you should, because if that crisis happens, their stock's gonna go through the roof. I don't do stocks really, but for anyone that does, I would say look into it. I mean, I'm not a professional enough or anything to say like go invest in it, but like because of that, I would definitely take a look if you know what you're talking about or looking at.
Warrior Hockey, I guess, is a part of New Balance.
There you go.
Did not know that. Let's see.
I didn't either.
I don't even know if they're a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just there you go.
A little tidbit of information that sometimes you pull out the weirdest stuff that I'd never thought of or heard of.
Yeah. Yeah, my phone basically blows up all day every day with like all kinds of sports, and like I don't know if you look at Bleacher Report or anything like that.
No, I'm not even. I don't get notifications or anything, and literally all my news comes from Twitter.
Oh, okay. I go on Twitter sometimes, but like when I go on Twitter, I usually search specific topics. That's how I do some like research on like see how people are like talking about whatever. So like, for example, I don't know if somebody's talking about like Matt Dumba or something, then I'll just search Matt Dumba and see what's going on with Matt Dumba, or like if there's certain things like that. Sometimes I'll be like, NHL rumors or NHL talk or whatever, but like usually it's specific topics that I go directly to. But when I follow Bleacher Report and stuff like that, it's there, and like Athletic, I follow beat reporters for like different teams, either fantasy related for the guys I have. And their teams, or for like Leaf Center teams and other teams I like, and like divisional teams and stuff like that. So a lot of times I'm getting updates from like beat reporters from like different teams.
Yeah.
So like it's not like I'm getting it.
You can get that through the Athletic. Like I have the Athletic, and I only get.
It's more so writers and stuff for that, but Bleacher
you just
Report,
log in, and if you want to read about a team, you can kind of go to it, right? Okay.
Yeah, and then the Bleacher Report, you can actually like favorite like teams and stuff like that, and then you can also favorite like trades, score updates, lineup updates. You can like select and deselect different things like that, so like you can get a lot of different information, and it's connected through a lot of Twitter as well. So I mean, I guess I do use Twitter. It's just more through that, and it like links and shows a lot of like videos and stuff like that through Twitter.
Yeah.
So like that's where I get a lot of my obscure stuff from, because it's just like people talking about something random that nobody else is talking about. So it's nice to kind of get some random topics like that.
Okay, cool.
You hear a little bit off hockey for a second, but I want to bring it to hockey. The whole talk with the MLB, talking about expanding playoffs and the potential for having a show or like special of picking who you want to play. What's your take? There's been a lot of talk in Toronto about this lately, but like, do you think it's a pro or a con, or do you like it or dislike it? The idea that
to pick who you can play.
Yeah, so like let's say
like that.
No,
you're
the top team, you get your first pick.
Yeah, and here's why. I don't like it because I don't see it as an advantage as much as it should be. Because like for instance, let's just say Boston, they picked to play Toronto because they know they whoop them every fucking time. This time Toronto's like, fuck, they picked us, we're going to step up our... It's kind of like that whole Las Vegas thing we talked about on another pod. Everyone got traded to Vegas. They got that extra oomph. The top team...
Isn't that good?
Pardon?
Isn't that a good thing?
It's good for the team that gets picked. I don't know if it's an advantage for the team that finishes first, is what I'm trying to say.
I think it would be because of the angle of like... So let's say... what's a good example? What's a good example? Thinking in the West.
Like, sure, it's good if like you pick to go against the Oilers because you hear McDavid and Draisaitl got injured.
Yeah, or like I was gonna say Colorado. Let's say Colorado last game of the season they lose. McKinnon and Landeskog both and they're not available at all in the playoffs. You'd be like, yeah, they're a good team and they're not the worst team in the playoffs, but I'm going to pick them because now that we know that information,
Take them now before.
they're technically probably a weaker opponent than the seed team that they'd actually play against.
Yeah.
Or like last year, you see Columbus come in. Columbus won what? Like 21 of their last 28 games or something like that.
Yeah, they went on a mad heater, yeah.
So like you get a team like that, I bet you Tampa Bay, if they had the option, they would have gone with, they would have never. Well, I mean, probably it would have been the third or fourth option to pick Columbus. They probably would have picked another team with some injury problems, or that was cooler down the stretch, or just been like, let's stay away from them because they Carolina. Yeah, exactly, right. And like, let's be real, they probably should have beaten both of them, but like, they probably would have beaten Carolina, right?
Yeah. So
like, there's an advantage for you.
Yeah, like I guess like I can see it. I don't know if I like it though. I'm starting to like this division thing they got going right now in the NHL, mainly because it's Leafs Boston every year. And it's happening again.
The only thing I like it is it does foster one rivalry per division.
Yeah, usually.
But it also provides a little bit of clarity of who you're going to be playing against. So, like, from logistical purposes, like, I've heard this before, that, like, teams, when they're like, okay, you know, coming down to the stretch, we got to make all our flight plans and our hotel plans and our bus plans and all that other stuff. It's easier to be like, okay, we're going to face one of these three teams and make all those plans for those three teams and then just cancel the two that you don't actually need. Where if you're like, okay, now we have to do that same thing for 7 other teams, and then we only know the, 3 nights before the season starts, there's no way you can logistically line that up in 3 days.
Yeah, they probably can. They can pull strings. They have private jets.
Let me put it this way. You'd have to create a team. A lot of teams just have a couple people who do it, or maybe like a small staff. You'd have to have like a team in control of that if you were to do that.
I personally would really like to see 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, like no conferences in play.
That would be a logistical nightmare.
It's not that bad these days, considering the technology and shit we got.
What if Toronto played Vancouver, Montreal, and then Buffalo played LA? Like, whatever, that man. Travel, you have to travel on a back-to-back or on 2 nights rest. You have to travel across the country. That's unfair.
But they do that in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, but that's just 1 round.
Okay.
Because if you're going to do 16 versus 1, what are you going to do round 2? Top, bottom again?
Yeah.
So now you have 4 rounds of that nightmare.
Potentially.
Instead of 1.
I suppose.
And you're also affecting 8 teams instead of 2.
You know what?
Boom.
I still want to see it.
Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't like to see it, but there's no way.
Because I would. The President's Trophy winner would just spank number 16 most nights.
I think they should just, like, if you want it to be. I said last episode, like, if you're one of the top teams, your goal is the President's Trophy. If you're not, there's not that much benefit to being, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's really not. Yeah. So, like, if teams are like, a few weeks out, I'm not going to get there, let's rest some guys, do whatever, get some prospect time in, whatever, do that other shit. It's just a different, like, if you want to make it legit, you got to make these teams want to win their divisions. Only way to do that is to give them a bye so they can get healthy, they can plan, they can strategize, they can practice together, they can get really ready, they can work on their special teams. That's an advantage. Like, you give each division winner a bye, logistically,
I don't know if that's an advantage in hockey.
I mean, it is the layoff, so it may not be an advantage, but
it depends how long.
In playoff hockey, you usually lose at least 1 guy per round. You usually lose a guy, or he gets hurt to the level where he goes from like a star to just an average body. Yeah, because he's playing with a broken wrist or punctured.
Playing with a broken wrist,
ribs or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, they were saying a couple of years ago, Pierre LeBrun was saying he knew Joe Thornton's shoulder. Might have been last year, a couple of years ago. Whenever they played Colorado, apparently Joe Thornton's shoulder was like, he knew it was basically on the verge of like falling out, and like he couldn't do anything but pass. which I mean that's his strong part, but like
Yeah.
that's why he couldn't shoot or whatever. But like he was basically told like you can't say anything because obviously if Colorado knew that, they would have targeted that, right?
Yeah.
Take him out, TKO, get him out of the round. But savage in hockey playoffs. When you smell blood, you got to go for it. Did you want to go through the Canadian teams?
Yeah, let's do it. We kind of touched Vancouver already. I pretty much went over the biggest storyline here. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess not 100% true. Vancouver is also top of the Pacific still.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks in a row, top of the Pacific.
Why is their logo so big on NHL.com? You remember when I pointed that out like weeks ago?
Yeah, is it still like that?
I don't get it. It's like 30% bigger than every other logo.
I don't see it. It's just because
it's on your app. Maybe it's the mobile app.
Maybe. You also have the yeah. Okay. No, I don't. I'm on the website right now.
Like I don't get it. I think if they win the cup, it's rigged. The season's rigged. I noticed that like in November.
It's the Pacific is 3 Canadian teams up top right now.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta pull up the standings.
And give a shout out to the Maple Leafs at the same time.
Hells yeah, I'm wearing my Maple Leafs poncho. No idea where my mom got it, but showed up for me, I think, for Christmas one year. And I don't know who else owns a Maple Leafs poncho.
Not I.
I actually want to take it into the store and see if they'll put my name on the back.
I don't see why not, as long as you give them money.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to put a nameplate and a number on there, because that would be pretty dope. Because it's so unique.
Yeah.
So you want to do Western teams?
Yeah, let's just. I guess
they got all 3 spots right now, eh?
That's what I was saying. Like, I think I put a curse, the opposite of a curse, on Calgary last week by saying that they were gonna fall out. They couldn't get anything together. Blah 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 blah. And then they went on a little bit of a win streak. I'm pretty sure they've won 3 of their last 4. 2 games.
Calgary's the only team in the playoff picture right now that has a negative goal differential.
Yeah, I know. I was
looking. The entire league.
I was looking at that too, and that's even like if you're looking at the East, there's like 3 teams out of the playoffs that have positive.
There's only 4 teams in the East who aren't positive.
The East is definitely doing much better than
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 in the West that are negative. But yeah, like, do you think it's going to stay that way?
With what, the Canadian teams?
Yeah.
No. They can't stay top 3. I am actually starting to believe that Vancouver might be able to pull off this first play. It'd be insane. But with McDavid going down, I'm starting to believe that it's possible because Vegas is struggling a lot more than I would expect them to.
That's the only team that I see pushing them. Yeah. Unless there's a magical run from Calgary, which I'm not holding my breath on.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's solid, I think.
To be fair, that Calgary came into Vancouver on the weekend and smacked them up. It was like 6-2 or something. So, I don't know. Calgary's just been one of those teams. When I'm saying they're going to win, they start losing. When I'm saying they're trash, they start winning. So, basically, whatever I say, they're doing the opposite of. And right now, I'm still in the realm of they're not as good as the rest of these teams.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the Riddick.
Big Save Dave?
Big Save Dave, yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't watch a whole lot of their games, so I can't really say a whole lot. I know I had Rittich early in the season in fantasy, and he was, good game, bad game, good game, bad game. So, like, I guess there's just a lot of unpredictability there, which is probably why they're not consistent. But obviously, they've lost Giordano, which doesn't help. They've had some issues with some other players as well, medically. So, I mean...
Johnny Hockey's having a pretty poor year.
Really bad year, yeah. I don't know. I think that it could end up like that. I think Vancouver, it's their race to lose at this point. I think.
I think so too. Mind you, they are struggling too with some injuries of themselves. They had a Brock Besser. He's down for probably at least another week or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I would, if I had to choose right now out of the entire Pacific, who the best goalie is, I'd have to say Markstrom. I don't know who I would give it to otherwise.
Fleury, not this year, but
No, yeah, no, of course. But I mean, like
is.
right now, today, who is Fleury's? That's where my worry is with Vegas right
Yeah.
now. I don't.
Yeah.
They're just giving up goals every game. I think I've
almost
been
feel
saying
like
this the
Fleury
past
needs a
4
reset.
podcasts. Pardon?
Yeah, you have been. I think Fleury almost needs a reset, like as in like an off season to, like, find out what his life after dad really is. I think he's still.
Yeah,
I don't
that's a
want
good
to
point.
sound
I forgot
insensitive
that
here.
happened. That
Yeah,
same thing happened to Markstrom, though.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't want this to sound insensitive. It might sound like it, but like when you
Whatever.
get caught up in that, caught up in stuff that has nothing to do with your team, like
Yeah,
I mean, everybody takes it differently, right? Like some people wouldn't shed a tear if they lost their parents. Some people would be an absolute wreck, and then there's a
sure.
lot of people that would fall in between there somewhere, right?
It doesn't
So
help
it's
that if he's having that trouble, he doesn't have that person behind him to be able to carry the load for a little bit.
mhm. And from
They,
what I hear is he talked to his dad every afternoon before every start.
yeah, Markstrom was the same. After every game, that was his first phone call.
Yeah. So like that's every reminder gets easier, but like the grieving periods can be long, right?
I'm more of the like I forgot that happened, and if you would have asked me, I'm starting to think his age just might be starting to catch up to him.
Could be both.
Yeah, could be both.
Could be parts of both.
And this is coming from the guy who loves the guy. Loves
Oh, I
Fleury.
love Fleury too.
Yeah.
I've got so much respect for the guy. And like when he even said to Pittsburgh, like, don't protect me because like I've had battles against all these other teams. I don't want to join any other team. I have no history against Vegas, so I'm okay going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Which it's nothing really, but I thought that was really cool, and I thought that was some pretty cool respect to him for that.
Yeah.
But
It's going to be interesting. And ever since the beginning of this podcast, I've been calling the Pacific being a huge battle. And it's really shaping up that way.
well, it's funny.
Could be
because
any
you
of those
look at-
teams, man. Any of those
You look
five.
at the conferences, though. There's pretty much a division in each conference that's pretty much set in terms of the teams. Like, you could make some arguments, but like, I think the Central is the most locked in one that you can get.
For top
Order
3.
may change, but the top 3 is not going to change. Like, I don't see anybody kicking out Dallas, Colorado, or St. Louis.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yep.
And
it's
I'm starting to think Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary will all be in the playoffs, just a matter of where they come in. I think Vegas will be there too when the dust settles. But like Arizona, what's going on with Arizona? Obviously Kemper's
a big thing.
That's a big thing.
He was carrying them, like absolutely carrying them at the beginning of the season. I don't know if that was something that he could have maintained anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the big question mark. You know me, I'm a believer that was possible. But I don't know. They're not. They got Hall, but like outside, they don't have. I don't find Hall to be that game-changing player. That's like a Matthews or like a McKinnon or anything. He's not that. He's kind of the player he's been on. Like he's his average player right now. His average player, which has been like nothing amazing. Phil Kessel's having a poor year. Clayton Keller is like he's not really.
I can't remember who it was who was breaking down Hall's game. I don't think it was Ferrero, but it might have been Ferrero. But they're just basically saying that like he needs a special, unique circumstance to be successful because he's not really a line generator. He doesn't make other players better, but for him to be the best player, he needs other players to make him better.
Yeah, like he would like if he was on Crosby's line, for instance, he would have 40
Yeah,
goals.
yeah, and he's such a powerful skater, and he's good down low, and he's good in straight lines. So like basically he's the same as Kapanen, but with a better down low game. Like you fly up and down the board, so you either need somebody who can keep up with you, which most people in the league can't, or you need somebody
And
who knows where to go when you do your thing.
yeah, and Arizona's not the team that has strong centers.
Hmm.
Like they have Steppen, Clayton Keller plays some center, but like he's like 30 in the league. Like centers always take a couple of years to even develop, right?
Hmm.
Brad Richardson, like he's like they have good wingers, they have good defensemen. They
Hall needs like a defensive playmaking center and somebody who likes to go to the net and get the puck out of the corner. So like I don't
Bergeron.
know who, but I was gonna say that, but it's unfair to use him because he's like the best. I was even gonna say like a Miku Koivu or something like that, or like a Taze or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting fit for him, eh? Chicago. That'd be a out of nowhere but Chicago type move. Pick up Hall for nothing after losing Panarin.
Yeah. So that's my take on Arizona. I'm a fan, but now I'm starting to worry. I'd be worried if I'm in there right
If
now.
you were them, are you actually serious about flipping Hall again, or do
I don't know if you
you
can you
take a
do
chance?
that. I feel like
The
that
only way you
just
can do it is if you get more or the same, right?
yeah. But I
You
just
can't
think
take you
the
can't take a
impact
hit.
it has on the locker room is a little.
If you
You
trade them,
have
they're gonna pack it up and go home. The rest of the team. If you quit, if the GM
you
quits
give
on
them
a team
that
like that,
yeah you give them that boost. Get what was considered the best player out there to get,
hmm
and then you just ship them out when they start losing. I They say Kemper's supposed to be back. I'd say
week or
you
two.
got to give him some time with that, but I guess the trade
Yeah,
deadline is 2 weeks now.
yeah, it's a
Might not
couple weeks away.
You might not get a lot of games with Kemper in
Yeah,
net.
yeah, and it's getting pretty tight. There's only a few points between Arizona and a
I'd be
couple teams
I'd be
below them.
very shocked if he got dealt. It wouldn't make much sense to me because they are in the race and anything can happen. Definitely,
Yeah,
all it takes is
they'd have to get a return that where they'd be like, we have to.
yeah,
We have to seriously consider the rest of the season and what we've done this year versus what we might be able to do over the next 3 or 4 years, especially with a young up and coming team. Like this isn't really their window.
not yet. No, I wouldn't
It's
say.
open, but the best part of their window is still to come. I think.
I would agree. They did just sign Clayton for that long time period. This is first year of like 8 seasons. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know if he's the kind of player that'll pan out, but
I don't know.
I don't want them to give up because I'm a little biased in the fact that I have a bet against a coworker, seeing who would do better this year, the Coyotes or the Canucks.
Hmm.
So if they both make the playoffs, it's who goes further in the playoffs. So I don't want them to give up because I'm pretty much certain that the Canucks are going to make it at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I think Winnipeg's trying to do something big here, and I think that if they do, they're going to take that spot off Arizona. I know I've talked about that lots of times when whoever wants to go take it. I mean, Minnesota is just on the outside looking in, but they're still looking at moving some assets. So, like, I think they realize what they really are. They're just on a bit of a heater right now. Nashville, same thing. Chicago, same thing. Like,
Yeah, I'm going
I,
to say
I
it's
really only
either
think it's the three teams to get 2 wildcard spots in the West now.
which three?
Vegas, Arizona, Winnipeg.
Okay, I think Calgary's kind of in there too. Like one of those
Well, assuming
Pacific,
Calgary is in
the
one of those
top three.
spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Calgary might fall to the wild card, but I'm assuming they're one of those already assumed
So
three
I'm
teams.
guessing with this McDavid injury, you're not worried for them,
Draisaitl's gonna go beast mode.
dude. He went beast mode yesterday. One
Hope so.
game without
It's good for
McDavid, he puts
my
up 4 points.
It's good for my one fantasy league. One league I have McDavid, one I have Draisaitl.
Yeah.
So, actually, my other league I'm screwed. I lost Giordano, Weber. Who did I just say?
McDavid.
McDavid, and somebody else for like a while. And we're only 2 weeks away from playoffs. But yeah, I think that the West is looking a little trimmed down.
Definitely getting trimmed down. I think as early as 2 weeks ago, we were still talking about Nashville, the Blackhawks, probably one other team.
I'm not saying that none of those teams can't make
They
it.
can
I'm
go on
sure
a
one
yeah.
of them's going to go on a heater. I don't know which one. But
I kept thinking it was the Blackhawks, and I watched their game last night against the Oilers, and Leonard did not play well. But they just, and honestly, looking at their like lineups themselves, like they're not deep. Those teams aren't deep. Nashville's a little
really
more
not
deep, but Nashville seems to have a goalie issue right now.
Well, they've been missing Ellis since their Winter Classic, so like that hurts, right?
For sure.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting as we get through the trade deadline here and who's going to do something like that. I think Winnipeg at the very least is going to pick up a guy like Vatanen, or maybe Martinez or something like that. But there are also rumors that they're in the game for a big forward. I don't know who they could be looking at, but I know Vegas is also looking at Kreider, and somebody said, I heard them on the Overdrive today, I don't remember who it was, but they're saying, imagine having to play Vegas and Mark Stone's on line 1 and Kreider's on line 2. That wouldn't be a very fun series.
I love Kreider. I've always liked him.
Yeah, having Reeves on line 4 on that same team. That would be a fucking nightmare to play.
I think the Rangers, I wouldn't rule it out that the Rangers actually just re-sign him.
Well, this is my take on it, is that they were going to trade him and they were going to re-sign him. And I think that when it came to being real, I think Kreider was like, well, you know, if I'm going to get this far and you're going to move me, then I might as well go and see what's in free agency. And I think the Rangers believe that exactly what's going to happen is you move on, you're moving on. He ain't coming back. So you either re-sign him now and you move on with him, with the team, then you like him, whatever, or you move him and he's probably going to re-sign with the team that you trade him to, if it's Boston or if it's St. Louis. I heard those are two places he would be interested in re-signing.
Yeah, so if that's the case, do you trade him there? Because you could trade him somewhere and then pull the whole Artemis Chapman, trade him, and then re-sign him.
That's what I'm saying, is that I think that that's what the Rangers want to do.
Yeah.
But I think that they're realizing, and I think that Kreider's been real with them and said, like, hey, like, if you trade me, I'm not promising you that I'm coming back. I mean, the door's open.
I don't think they can make that promise to begin with. They can do a wink, nudge, I guess.
You trade him to Boston or St. Louis. He's from Boston.
Oh, is he?
So, yeah, he's from Boston, or Massachusetts somewhere. So, like, if he's going to get money from there and it's home, let's be real, over the next 3 years, you got St. Louis, Boston, or New York Rangers. You want to try and win a cup. Who's the team you're not picking? It's the Rangers, right? As much as you love the Rangers and you've had history with them and all that other stuff, like, it's not that you're really turning your back on them. It's just...
Yeah, it's their couple
you have better opportunities.
Away, they think, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get the money the same place. You're going to live in the States. You're going to be in and around home, kind of, any of those places. So, I mean, I think that's my read on it. And that's why it was always being traded. He's the number one guy on the trade board to, now the Rangers are maybe talking about re-signing him, because I think they realize that if they want him for around for the future, they got to hand the contract over now.
I wonder, does he not get traded till trade deadline day, do you think? If he gets traded?
Yeah, and I think the Rangers should take that chance. And I think that they should put a condition on the pick that if he resigns, they get another first or something like that. So that way for them, if he does move on, they got a bunch of good assets in their pocket.
2 firsts for Kreider? That shouldn't happen.
Or maybe a second this year and then a conditional first, so it might be a second and a second. But if he resigns, it's the second and then next year's first. Could work it that way. I honestly feel like the future of the NHL trades is conditional picks. I think every pick that's going to be dealt, or like 90% of picks that are going to be dealt, are going to be on condition basis.
Makes sense to me. I'm working on a deal right now that has a conditional pick.
Yeah. If it's conditioned based on swapping in the offseason, you got to post it so everyone knows.
No, it'd be like if I finish top 3, this pick becomes this pick.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. That's more what I mean.
Yeah. Just full disclosure, that's between you and him.
No, of course.
Disagreement happens, I ain't getting involved.
No, I'm a man of my word.
Yeah, no, I know you are. I just have said that to everyone that if there's some sort of disagreement, I ain't getting involved because what am I going to do? If 2 guys have agreed to something, then I'm not part of the agreement. So I'm not going to step in and not fine, but like step in and,
Yeah, but what if they both told you they agreed to something?
If they both said like this is the condition and then somebody went back on it, I'd be like, well, I got proof and
yeah. So that's what I would if there's a condition, I would expect that you know about the condition, to be honest.
And that's where I would hope everyone would be fully, full disclosure and just say, hey, this is what's going on. Not because, shady or anything like that, but just so everyone's aware that, if somebody's going to go back on their word, then everybody should be aware of that so that they don't take that risk in the future, right?
Right.
So I do have one trade out to Joey too. It's not for Matthews though. I don't
for Murder?
Actually, no. I have an offer out for him, but it's not. It's not.
It's not for Murder?
No.
I told Joey, let's get this shit done quick. I'll give you more because I need it to win this week. And he hasn't responded to me, so.
He responded one text to me earlier, and then.
Yeah, he's been slow. It's been slow talks, but they're talks now, so it's better than before. Yeah,
I mean, like I said, when I messaged you, I just wanted to make sure you were aware because.
No, I messaged him like a week and a half ago to see, I literally opened the messaging up saying, "Hey, if Tori and Nick message you about anyone, don't give them to them until you talk to me because I will give you better."
That's funny.
I'm just sick of fucking you guys getting all the players and no one actually shopping and negotiating to see what the value of these players are.
I know.
It's not going to happen so easily going forward.
I'm always shopping, and I'm mostly shopping just to see who likes my guys so that I know when to circle back. Like Kuznetsov, I circled back because I started to get weary on him. And ever since I dropped him, he's been slowly dropping outside. He was like, I want to say he was 91 or 92 overall when I traded him. I think he's like a 127 or 132 right now. So like he's barely roster built now.
One of your closet picks, like under the radar pickups that I love that you did was Brady Tkachuk. I think he's paid off pretty good for you.
Yeah. I wanted him all season. I circled back. I know
Steve asked me if I wanted him at one point. He was really trying to unload him. I
don't know why.
Steve blew his team up. He was in the hunt and he just blew it up.
I don't know. The day he agreed to Vasilevsky, I guess it pissed Nick off because Nick was trying to do a trade and then Steve had told him like a day before that he was going to hold on and not make any trades. He wasn't in the market for Vasilevsky, but he just was like,
I was at one point. I asked him about Vasilevsky like a month or two ago and he said no. And he told me he'd let me know if it ever came on the market. He didn't.
Yeah. I asked probably like 13 times. Like I'm not even kidding. I probably asked more than that. I probably asked almost 20 times about Vasilevsky.
That's the beauty of I've learned in my job about negotiation and being persistent. Sometimes they just get sick of hearing you call them and they're just like agree to anything because they're sick of you calling them about the same fucking thing.
Well, it's funny because I made him this offer before and he said no. I made an offer of Freddie plus Hall because I was getting a bit nervous with Freddie because of the lack of defense the Leafs were playing. I liked the win potential, but I didn't like his stats potential.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I can upgrade a goalie, I will. And then I had offered Hall and Freddie a while ago, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you Hall and Freddie for Varlamov," and I was like, "No way!" And then when I was like, "Hold up, you liked Mantha. Mantha's coming back. What if I did Mantha, Hall, and Freddie for Vasi?" And he's like, "Yeah, maybe." And then I was like, "See if I can get some picks back." And then I offered a higher pick request back, and then he came back with one that I was still like, yeah, I'd make this trade. So I'm still gonna counter with another one, see if I can get a little bit more out of it. And then I countered, he accepted, and I was like, accept so fast. It was pretty funny. I feel like that changed my entire season.
Nope, that was your weakness.
Yeah. The unpredictability. Like I could have had a great week, but it was
no, for sure.
Now I have arguably two of the best goalies in the league.
Yeah,
at least in the combination for win.
I would say Vasilevsky has a good chance at winning the. Forget the name of the award.
Vezina.
Yeah, Vezina.
Bob Vezina.
I think he's in the conversation for sure right this second.
They continue this way. He hasn't lost a game in regulation in like 19 games.
Yeah, ever since I traded for him myself on my other pool.
So I'm stoked that I have him, and I'm trying to move Samsonov in a value trade.
I don't know who's going to take him.
I've got a couple people that haven't said no. So I have a couple offers out there for picks.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get a couple pick upgrades. Just trying to get more 11th rounders. I want to own the entire 11th round. Nick hasn't noticed that yet, I don't think. Or he can't do anything about it, either or.
Yeah, he's kind of in a corner right now.
But he's gone for it. And, like, I have too. But, like, that the stat tracker that I created where the plus-minus of the rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be different once I can actually add the picks in there because the picks are going to be much more variance. So, like, it's going to be a bigger number. But right now, like, I think it was plus-minus 19 rounds from where I started. And I've added all these pieces. I've added 3 first rounders. And I've only moved down 19 rounds. It's pretty good.
Pretty good. You're going to pull it off? You're going to make the playoffs next year?
The way I'm looking at it, I'm considering something. I'm not going to reveal it, obviously, but I'm considering changing up what I thought I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And if I end up doing that, I feel like I might be a dark horse team to be really good next year. But the fact that I'm going to have, like, no commitments, really.
Yeah.
Like, all my picks are going to be late guys, and if I don't hit on my draft picks, well, then I can pick up the guys who have good seasons.
Yeah, the waiver wire is pretty good. Like, I don't feel like you're ever really out of it in this league as long as you have a couple really good players. Like, you need, like, 2, and you're going to have them because of keepers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Draisaitl's number 1. Like, you're going to have him next year. Having him alone next year makes you dangerous. And if you hit on your goalies in the late rounds, which you can pretty easily, Kemper, Hart.
Especially because most people that I've talked to are going to be cold on goalies. Pretty much everyone I've talked to is like nowhere in the top 4 rounds am I taking a goalie. Probably not even top 5 rounds.
That's good to hear.
So like goalies are going to be going like late 4 on the top end guys, and then 5, 6 on like the second tier guys, and then probably like round 7 will probably be the big round for goalies this year, I think. That like third tier guys.
Yeah, I didn't take my strategy is always take goalies late. I always get forced to take them a little earlier than I want because everyone's like panic taking goalies. Mm-hmm. And my other pool, goalies going like second and third. Pardon?
The goalies were valued way too high this year. They went way too high. They went like 2 rounds higher than they should have.
They do in every fucking pool. My other pool, they shouldn't even be going to like the 9th round, and they're going in the 1st and 2nd round. I'm just like losing my mind.
Yeah.
And then I get stuck. And then I get stuck with Mrazek.
It's huge, but if you don't, it bites your season.
I would much rather have a forward that produces, that
4 nights a week, 3 nights a week.
Yeah, and then you can stream goalies a lot easy too. Like.
But if every team in the league was active and every team streamed goalies, you wouldn't have goalies to stream. Or you'd have to stream goalies throughout the week and not just be like, oh, wait till Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'd have to be like, oh, shit, Monday night, I got to get ahead of people.
Yeah, and there's always a couple goalies that have breakout seasons out of nowhere.
Yep.
every season. There's a couple.
In my other pool, I picked up Shesterkin, and I have Bishop. So with Shesterkin getting like 40 shots a night, his stats are incredible right now.
Yeah.
So like the wins are there right now, but I don't expect that to continue.
Mm-hmm.
But the statistics I do. So like with Bishop and his good stats and wins plus Shesterkin, I feel like that's a really good tandem for me in the other league.
I think last year I won my other pool, and both my goalies were waiver goalies.
Yeah.
They were Kemper and Hart, which is ironically the same goalies I have in this league.
Went back to the well too many times. Yeah, no, I'm
gonna work.
That's gonna be my strategy next year. Right now, I probably won't even draft a goalie. Either that, or I'm gonna draft like 5 and then pick the 2 that I really want
and trade off the other one.
Yeah, give myself the first, because I'll probably give myself the first 3 weeks anyways to see how my team does. I might carry like 5 goalies to see what teams are actually good and who actually doesn't have a bad platoon and all that other shit. And then if I have extra assets, I'll trade them off for picks or just drop them and move on. That's what I usually like to try and do. But did you see the Leafs big line the other night with all three monsters on the same line?
Yeah, how'd that work out for them? Did they
Not good.
Did they stick with it the whole game?
No, Keefe didn't like it, but he said that that's to be expected, and it's not making him shy away from doing it again in the future. He just didn't like the timing of it after he tried it, so he went back to the normal lines. But interesting.
Yeah, I just like that he's trying things.
I think that the Leafs are potentially on the verge of doing something big here. I'm smelling something.
A big trade?
2 big trades.
2 big trades, okay.
I think that either A, they're going to trade one of their wingers, or Kerfoot.
Yeah.
Along with Dermott.
Okay.
For a better defenseman. Or what they're going to do is they're going to eat money on Barry so that they can open up the market for Barry. Because Barry at 1.5, I think, right now, only a few teams can really get in on him.
Yeah.
For that type of defender. But if they eat half his contract, which the Leafs can afford to do if CC's out for the rest of the year, then they can eat him and make him like I think it's 895 player, 0.895.
Yeah.
Almost any team can take that on.
Okay.
You get the assets back that. I don't think you're going to get a first, but you could probably get a second and a top prospect. Or not a top prospect, but like a really good prospect or a young roster player. And then they could just take that player and flip that over to get that defenseman they're looking for. So essentially they can flip Barry, who's an expiring contract, into another defender who's...
You don't think that they should re-sign Barry, or they just can't afford him?
No.
No?
I have not been impressed with him.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to summarize his game. He's a good skater. He's elusive. He's very good at getting the puck up to the guys on the wing.
Yeah.
His decision making for when to shoot, he's a good shooter. He's a good one-timer, and he's like a smart shooter for the most part.
Was he the one that shot that in overtime recently?
Yes.
Okay.
That went around the other. Yeah. So I don't know. Sometimes his decision making is just kind of like the other day in overtime, he was standing there, and I think it was Matthews was flying back door, and in a play like that, you either throw it to the net for a rebound or a tip, or you throw it down into the corner because in the far corner is the least dangerous part on the ice, right?
Yeah.
So you had Matthews, one of your skilled forwards, going to the net / to the corner, and the other winger, I don't remember where he was. I think he was at the top of the circle in front of him or beside him, kind of thing. And instead of just dumping it down to where Matthews would have clearly won the race or to the net, like I'm saying,
yeah,
he turned back and skated towards not Freddie, Jack Campbell. So he was in the zone already. He turned around and skated back to the own zone, and then turned and tried to flip up, and it bounced over the stick and it went for an icing. So I'm like, okay, you went from possession time on Matthews' stick in the offensive zone to getting an icing call where you're tired with Matthews now in your defensive zone.
Yeah, those are the ideal guys to have on.
It didn't cost you. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it's a situation that you put
yourself in. Yeah, but it's one of those
things
you do it enough times, it'll bite you in the ass.
Yeah, and I think that the thing with him, too, is that we have enough skill up front And we have enough of these skating, passing, offensive defensemen and Dermott and Sedin and whatever, and Riley and whatever. Like we don't need that long term. Like ideally, he would have had one more year.
Yeah.
And we could have had him next year too on like the lower term. That would have been obviously ideal. But I think that because a lot of the teams that are connected to the Leafs seem to want assets that the Leafs don't necessarily have or align up perfectly with. Yeah. So one thing that tells me is either it's just not going to happen at the deadline, or B, that something's going to come in from somewhere else that's then going to go out or create a hole or shift something else out that allows the rotation of those pieces.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do because that Jack Campbell trade I loved from the second it happened, and it's already turned out to be. I'm sure Leaf fans already see it. I haven't seen much of Clifford though, so I don't know how. I know the first game he got 4 minutes penalties. That's all I know.
Yeah,
but
I don't have much to say on him. Yeah, he is used very sparingly.
Yeah, as he should be with that roster, right?
Yeah. What makes me a little nervous is that like his skill set doesn't really complement the line he's on when they're playing him with these other guys.
Yeah.
I think he'd be better suited playing with like a Mikheyev or a Janssen or somebody who likes to grind a little bit.
Okay.
But like they put him with Aberg last game. Like for example, like I don't think he's the greatest with Spezza. Yeah. Where Spezza and Gauthier when the roster's full, that's kind of your tandem for your fourth line center. So, like, I don't really like the idea of Clifford and Spezza. I like the idea more of Clifford and Gauthier. But I like the idea of Spezza in at center over Gauthier. So it's kind of like, do you pick the guy you like more at center, even though it's a detriment to what you think as on the fourth line? Or I think that there's also a spot available to bring in another guy to fit on that line. Like, I think it could be smart for the Leafs to bring in another really reliable checker.
Okay.
And then make almost like a checking line.
Yeah.
And then you can have your couple responsible lines. You have your Tavares line, which is your like go-to offensive responsible line. And then you have like your shutdown, line that you can put out there. Nobody's going to start shit. Yeah. They can get the puck deep, just kill some time. They're safe. They're toolsy. Like, I think that's the way to go if they really want to make some noise. So one guy I think is sneaky, and this is going to sound like a very homer take, but I'm going to go for it anyways.
Okay.
I think it was about 8 years ago, Joe Thornton was asked if he'd ever leave San Jose. Maybe not 8 years ago, but 5 years ago. And he said that he wouldn't really want to, but if he had to, he always thought it would be interesting to play in either Detroit or Toronto. Obviously, he ain't going to Detroit.
No.
So theoretically, San Jose has kind of said that they're not going to like ask Thornton to waive, but if Thornton came to them and said, you know what, like I'd rather go for another playoff run than just be out of the playoffs with San Jose, like trade me. They said that he's going to have full control.
Is he on an expiring contract? He only did 1 year, right?
Expiring year, and I want to say it's like 900,000 or something like that, or 1.2 or something around there.
I'm pretty sure.
So like, if he goes to San Jose and says, yeah, trade me, he's going to tell them which team he wants to go to. If that's still the case where he would be interested in playing to Toronto, Toronto won't have to give up much because that's the only team he wants to go to, right? Give us a fourth rounder, give us anything just to satisfy what he wants, right? That could be for any team. If he says, I want to go to Boston or Tampa for that matter, Tampa's a very alike atmosphere, I think, to San Jose. Mm-hmm. Like you can wear sandals to the rink and all that other fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like I think that he could potentially say, yeah, good. Same thing to Tampa Bay. So like Tampa Bay could pick up Thornton for like a fifth rounder, and people would be like, are you kidding me? But that's because Thornton said, I want to go there, right? So if the Leafs do end up trading something like that and Thornton does that, I would love to see that. Thornton come in and play in the center role, push.
You actually think he can bring something to the team? I've seen him as non-existent this year.
Yeah, I could see it.
Okay. I haven't watched much Sharks ever since they started shitting the bed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he could bring just as much as Spezza does. And
fair enough.
That's not a whole ton, but it's enough. And I mean, it just adds a little bit more depth, right? It pushes.
And the leadership come playoff time could be something.
Yeah. And a little bit of respect, too.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to push. Nobody's going to face wash or whatever. Chara's not going to face wash Thornton.
Well, Thornton's out there punching goalies in the face. You never
Yeah.
know.
I mean, that's the thing. When Thornton does something, people pay attention, right? So, like,
Yeah.
if the Leafs are doing whatever, or anyone for that matter, Tampa Bay, let's say he goes to Tampa Bay and they're down 2-0 in the series and they're down 2-0 after 2, he steps up and says something. You know, everyone's listening.
Yeah.
That's got to be taken into account too, right?
Yeah.
There's one of those bullets in the chamber for all those veterans. So that's how you have a successful run, right? Having the right guy stand up and say the right thing at the right time and use that bullet when they really should be.
Do you think? I know you don't. I know you are saying Boston's playing Florida.
Mm-hmm.
If Boston matches up with the Leafs, do you think the mental factor of that could play a big part, or do you think they don't even think about that shit?
Not at all. I think that the Leafs are too young and cocky to give a fuck.
Yeah.
The new year, the past is different, and the coach is different.
I think they're better than the Bruins. So
the Bruins have a better top line, and they have a better team game, and they have a better goalie tandem. Oh, maybe the goalie tandem isn't better anymore.
It'd be close.
You can make an argument. I mean,
they have better defense. They have better defense.
Playing on the same team at the top of their game, who's a better goalie, Freddie Anderson or Tuukka Rask?
Playing what?
If you put,
I'd say it'd be pretty close.
The exact same team, playing the exact same minutes, playing on the same.
I would say it's a wash. Like you take
agree.
either one.
I'd pick Freddie just because I like Freddie. I actually like both of them a lot. They're both in like my top 5 for goalies.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love goalies. So
you have like a power rankings top 55 goalies.
It's more like top 100 goalies. Yeah, no, I've always loved goalies, and I always follow goalies really closely, so I know a lot about them. But I mean, Rask, I would probably put like as my 4th or 5th favorite goalie, and Freddie's probably number 2. I think Price is my favorite goalie, but which is a lot for me to say considering I'm a Leaf fan and he's a happy.
No, I respect someone that can look past the jerseys and respect a good player.
Yeah,
I like that. As much as I hate the Boston or the Red Sox, I respect some of their players sometimes.
Yeah, the only players that I've ever really hated, I hated Roenick for a while because he scored that overtime goal on the Leafs.
Oh, when he was in Philly?
When he was in Philly, like I couldn't stand his face. I couldn't stand when he talked. He made me mad every time I saw him. But then after about 5 or 6 years, I got over it. Alfredson still makes me mad.
Fuck yeah.
When he threw that, because Sundin was my boy, right? Like he was my idol. So when that happened, I was like, I wanted to jump through the TV and like fight Alfredson. Like it literally like pissed me off. So like every time
Alfredson, man, that rivalry has always will be my favorite growing up. Like I remember that.
Hell of a player, but I fucking hated him.
Yep. Respect that.
Yeah.
Gotta kind of hate Chara then for that. Like he was on the Sens, he's on the Bruins,
Yeah, I never hated Chara.
Yeah,
I never was the biggest fan. Like I never loved him, but it was funny because in Ottawa I was like, oh, he's this goof, he's this big lanky goof, just skate around him. When he signed in Boston and he was given the captaincy, I was like, what do these guys think they're doing? Like. They're signing like a number 4 defenseman. Was I wrong? I was way wrong.
I thought his career was coming close to an end when he went to Boston forever ago. Now I can't even remember.
Why I thought that too was because I watched Hal Gill deteriorate over 2 years in Toronto and basically just be a big goof that laid in front of the ice on the penalty kill. So like I thought Chara was following that same route. So I was like, oh, he's only a couple years behind him. But I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
I'm not afraid to admit it though. I have this Canucks game on the side right now. 10 minutes in, they're being outshot 12-0.
Nice.
So
I think we shifted to the east a little bit there, but in the Metro, are we still in agreement with what we're looking at? 1-2, anyways.
Let's. I'm gonna pull it open here.
I got Washington, Pittsburgh, Philly.
Okay, yeah. I would say that's my top 3. We haven't touched on it. What do you think of the Pittsburgh picking up Zucker? That happened a couple days ago. I don't know if he played yet. I think he played yesterday for them. I'm not sure, to be honest.
My only question from your question is what happened to Hornquist? He started the year off so good, and the last couple of games I've seen him on the fourth line. So
He didn't.
to answer your question with Zucker, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he was hurt as per usual for a little while. Hornquist was. I don't know. Like he just kind of hasn't. He's been. As someone like. I know I follow him pretty closely because he's like been on my roster in fantasy for like 3 straight years. So like he's always been the guy. He's not been performing on their power play. They don't use him on the power play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I say that and then I look at the last game sheet and he played 6 minutes on the power play. So that's totally wrong.
That is. Maybe he plays on the fourth line in power play. Maybe that's his shtick these days. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it appears to be. Like I'm looking at his game sheet from last game.
Yeah.
They didn't put Zucker. They have 1 minute of Zucker on the power play, so it didn't look like they were really putting him in. But he got a bunch of shots.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like he's kind of been. I'm trying to think of. I would compare him to like players like Furland on the Canucks. I'm trying to think of other players. Just kind of a hitty guy that puts up some shots, but then gets some goals. But like his body is just breaking down. I think after like 4 straight years now, he's had at least 10 plus games straight injured.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't know. I think they're just ready. He's getting older too. He's got to be.
He is, and the reason why I asked that question is just like I think Zucker's going to come in and just be another piece. Like Brian Rust is playing in the top 6. Like you look at their wingers, like they're a bunch of, no disrespect, nobodies, like guys that nobody knows who they are.
Well,
like outside.
That's been Pittsburgh's bread and butter.
Yeah.
For countless years, like Connor Sheary.
But doesn't that just tell you how good Crosby and Malkin are?
It does. It really does. It allows them to, because they don't have to pay these wingers, and when it's time for them to pay up, they go somewhere else. Like Connor Sheary is the prime example. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So it's like a next man up.
At the time, the Sheary trade, I was like, that was just a manufactured asset. Pittsburgh saying, thanks, Crosby, for getting us another pick. Like, you turned an average player into a 30-goal scorer, and we turned him around into a...
And Buffalo stuck with him.
This year, yeah. Like, I think Sheary is a solid, check.
Oh, he is.
Bottom of the lineup guy, but he's not a 25, 30-goal scorer.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh
like
does this every year. They kind of pick up a winger that's in, like, the Zucker, like, wheelhouse. Like, Tanner Pearson, they picked him up last year at... I think they re-flipped him, actually, to Vancouver last year.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a good. They just kind of, this is the kind of player they trade for every year.
Yeah,
they kind of needed to fill a winger role too with Gensel being done. So
I think he's a nice fit.
I do too.
I think he'll fit in nicely, and I think that it's a good addition for them. I thought that they paid a lot, but when I hear how they broke it down, it sounds like Galchenyuk was a negative asset. Mm-hmm. So part of that price they had to pay was for the Minnesota to take on Galchenyuk. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, like I know Pittsburgh loved that Killian Addison, and he played on the junior team Canada and whatever. Like he's a smaller offensive guy. I would say like Liljegren's more highly touted than Addison is, just to kind of put in a little bit of Leafs perspective. But like it was rich, but that's what Rutherford does.
Well, yeah, it was rich, but they do have him for 4 years now, so they'll.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I think
this deal's been talked about for like a year.
No, I know it was supposed to happen for Kessel, but Kessel vetoed it.
Yep.
So
yeah, they've been watching Zucker for a long time. So I mean, it's going to be a nice add. And Murray looks like he's got his game going again. So Jari Murray's combo is nice. I think Washington's going to try and add something, especially in the bottom. I feel like they really wanted Clifford.
Washington, yeah.
I feel like they really wanted him.
Possibly.
I have no knowledge of that, but that would be the type of guy that I feel like they're looking for. Somebody to kind of add a Wilson-type role, but in the bottom 6.
It's funny. I started this season saying Pittsburgh's done. Like, they're not making the playoffs. I think on the first podcast I said we might have been a little bit into the season, but then I changed my mind a little bit that they'd at least make the playoffs. I am going to say they win this division now.
They might. We also thought New Jersey was going to be in the playoffs too. So
I don't know. I think they were garbage by the time we started recording these things.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I do think that the division is potentially toss up, and I do think that it could even be a toss up for who ends up winning the well, maybe not the Presidents, but the best record in the East. Could be close.
Best record in the East. I didn't think about that.
Because Tampa's at 79 through 57. Washington's one less game played, two points back, so same points percentage.
Okay, yeah. If I had to pick who would win the East right now, I would say Tampa.
I'd probably have to say they're the favorite, and then I'd say if Washington adds the right pieces, I would put my money with Washington. Plus, really? I have a feeling Ovi is going to go on a little magic thing here. I think he's going to get like 63 goals or something like that.
Yeah, you think he's going to get that high?
I don't know. I think he's going to get like 4 more hat tricks this year. I just
How many more games do they have against Detroit?
Yeah, I know, right? But Pittsburgh's getting healthy. They're getting deeper. They're adding. They don't have much more assets. I don't love their defense, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Washington had some magic to start when they had Carlson go on that run and these other situations. Could be right. Pittsburgh could take that from them, which could lead to my Pittsburgh-Philly matchup of wild card versus 1.
It was an amazing... Well, you said Philly's going to be 3rd.
Well, I've always said Philly-Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay. So
I've
it
always
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Defaulted in 2-3 because that's where I thought it was. But now it's realistic Pittsburgh could actually win the division. But it's also realistic Pittsburgh could win the division and still play Philly as a wild card.
Yeah.
So...
Yep.
But, I mean, realistically, what I was saying earlier when I just, like, I just want to see Pittsburgh-Philly because it's always super entertaining and I love watching that hockey. So, like, I'm kind of just trying to, like, talk it into existence a little bit when it comes to that one.
If that's the matchup, it's potential for a rematch of Washington-Carolina, too, which would be kind of cool.
Exactly. And or it could be if they don't make it Washington-Columbus or whatever, right? So, I mean, it could be interesting there. And I'm still sticking with my Florida-Boston. I don't know what it is. Something's just telling
Vivid
me
dreams.
You know what? It could be in the second round.
Could be.
I just have a feeling that this year there's going to be a playoff matchup between Boston and Florida.
You're just going to keep calling it, and then it'll eventually come true.
That one I'm not trying to speak into existence because I want it to happen. That one I feel like is just going to happen.
I'm starting to think Florida's going to be on the outside looking in. Again. They're going to be that one team that will be 3rd year in a row.
They're cooler, and they're only 3 points back with 1 game in hand.
I guess.
And Bobrovsky hasn't gone on his year-end.
I'm just trying to figure out which teams are going to bounce out. I guess the Islanders would be in my prediction. I don't know.
I know the Islanders are trying to do something, but I don't think Lou's just too... Like, they got Ho-Sang. Ho-Sang should be in the freaking lineup, and they're not even doing that. Like, I don't know. I think the Islanders are going to slide a little bit here. I think Philly's a better team, especially when they get Patrick and Hart back in the lineup. They're definitely better than the Islanders. They're definitely better than Columbus.
To me, it feels like the Metros kind of mirrors the Pacific in the fact that there's, like, quite a few teams battling for the limited spots.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Carolina, you nailed it last week when you were saying the goaltending. That's going to be their Achilles when it comes to the competition here. Yep. Like, every other team they're in competition with, you could maybe argue Columbus just because of the unknown portion, but they've proven so far this year that to be fact, that they have better goaltenders. So, I mean, I've never believed in Mrazek as the solution to a championship team or even a team that could go far. No. He went pretty far last year.
They've been riding...
Reimer?
Yeah, sorry, Patrick Kane was trying to snipe for you.
Oh.
They've been riding Reimer more than Mrazek, Even though it's still somewhat of a split, but at the beginning of the season, it started with Mrazek taking like the 60-40, and now it seems like 60-40 with Eimer.
That's not going to get them there.
It's not going to get it done. And I don't know. They probably got hurt quite a bit with Dougie Hamilton going down.
Yeah, that was a big loss, especially for a team that's built by their defense, who made their goaltending better just because of that. So I mean, like they kind of
Sebastian Aho though quietly having an amazing season for them.
Yep. But I mean, Svechnikov's cooled down a little bit. It's not looking the best for Carolina, even though they're above Florida.
Yeah.
If I had to pick between Carolina and Florida, one of them making the playoffs, I'd put my money on Florida.
Yeah, I'd put it on them too.
But
we'll see.
I still think Bobrovsky's going to go on a bit of a heater, so I feel like the last 10 games, Florida's probably going to win 7 or 8 of them. So
you would hope so. They paid him enough money that he's got to carry them in, right?
It takes a goalie so long to learn the tendencies and stuff that I've touched on before. So I think that now is about the time where he should be getting comfortable. Now he did lose some games there for an injury, so I think that maybe
he was
set him
injured?
back a few games. I think he missed a couple games due to a small injury. I think he missed like 4 or 5 games, I want to say, or maybe he had the illness or something. I want to say that I read that he missed a couple games. Might have just been 3 games or so, but the last couple of years he's had heaters at the end of the season. So I'm expecting him to go on a bit of a tear.
It can only happen so many times, though.
Well, out of all the goalies if you're picking Columbus, Philly, Carolina, or Florida, if one goalie is going to carry your team for 2 weeks, it's going to be Bobrovsky in Florida, based on prior record.
Yeah.
Past performance.
They're reviewing this potential goal for Patrick Kane for you.
Oh, yeah? Well, if we're talking about fantasy, you want to switch over to our league?
Yeah. We already had a little pit stop there on the way.
I know. Shall we talk about the latest trades first?
We always do.
There's been 2 of them.
Let's see. Transactions, some trades.
You pick which one you want to talk about first.
Well, Okay. Wait, there's another one that we didn't talk about.
Yeah, Knicks.
No, Max Domi. I didn't even know that trade happened.
Oh, you didn't see that one?
Max Domi for Ilya Kovalchuk. Do you still have Domi?
No, I dropped him the day I got him.
Oh, that's just a pick upgrade.
Yeah, pick upgrade for him, for Kovalchuk.
Why is Ben trading picks? Like, what is he doing?
I offered him the deal. He accepted it. I don't know.
What is his plan, man? Does he have one flying by the seat of his pants? I'm gonna ask him if he needs.
His plan is that he needs to make a plan for next year.
So is he? Why does he want Kovalchuk for that said plan? Like,
I don't know.
Whatever. You just take advantage of him over and over. I feel bad.
You know how many offers I've sent around that people have either not accepted or just declined? Eventually, shit's gonna stick, right?
1,000?
Maybe not that many. At least a couple hundred. But
okay, so I guess this is the big trade. You, Mr. Maverick, gets Vasilevsky and Bjorkstrand.
Who I dropped.
Who you dropped. So you got Vasilevsky and you trade.
No, you need to. I need to break this trade down.
All right, I'll let you do it. You're the one in the trenches.
I know, and this is where you're gonna love this one. So I started talking to Steve on which day was that? February 9th. Which date was the 9th? 9th was on Sunday. So I started talking to him on Friday, and we threw back offers back and forth through Friday and through Saturday. And Saturday night, I was like, oh, maybe this actually might happen. Sunday, I woke up. I'm like, I'm fucking making this happen. I don't know exactly what's gonna go down or what picks are gonna happen. If I even have to, I wanted to get the best picks back. Yeah. He was trying to sell me Bjorkstrand and somebody else. I was like, I don't want those guys. I just want Vasilevsky and pick upgrade. The reason why I was trying to push him so hard was that I didn't have a roster spot to drop to add a goalie because I was tied, or I was set to tie for the week or potentially lose if Brad had added a goalie.
You know what's sickening is that, well, I don't know if it's sickening, but I look at this stuff. Other people don't seem to look at matchups, what's going on around the league.
Yeah.
I know Nick would too, but geez.
Yeah. So I waited.
He should be holding off a day just to make sure you tie.
and I added freaking Shesterkin, who had that like 47 save.
Yeah, I know. Almost a shutout.
Almost a shutout. He got me the win, and I ended up winning, I think, 7-4 that week, when I should have probably lost 6-5 or 5-4.
Yeah.
So I went from probably losing the week to acquiring Vasilevsky and stealing the week. Finally, something broke my way.
Seriously, yeah.
So, I mean, but I gave up Freddie Anderson, Anthony Mantha, and Taylor Hall. And I gained 2, 3, 4.
So Taylor Hall is not a keeper.
No.
Mantha, I guess, could be a keeper if that's what he wants him for. He might want him for that. But
see if he performs.
I guess, like, Steve had some goal. He did have more goalies than he wanted.
Yeah.
So I guess he was trading from a position of strength. So from his perspective, he was
left, so he's trying to add forwards from his goalies.
Yeah, makes sense, I suppose.
If I were him, I would have. I know he was trying to sell Varlamov, and I know he didn't want to drop him for nothing, but he's going back into a timeshare. It's time to drop him. I would have dropped him. And if he wanted to still run 3 goalies, I would have gone with Bobo, Vasilevsky, and Merzlikins.
Yeah.
And then when that magic finally runs out, I would either try to trade Merzlikins now, or
I don't know if we would have taken Merzlikins, though.
No one would have. That's what I mean. Is like you're either going to ride the wave, or he's going to go back on free agency. So like, I would have slowly trimmed back to Bobo and Vasilevsky, or I would have traded Bobo and ran just Vasilevsky and streamed my goalies. But he doesn't have ads, so I guess you can't really do that.
Yeah, and then like, what is this? Not even 2 hours later, an hour and 15 minutes later, he trades Wheeler, which I found very surprising.
Because Nick texted me being like, what the fuck? Steve said he wasn't going to make any trades. I was like, well, I guess he is. And then like I got the email saying there's been a trade made. I'm like, great. And I didn't expect it to be, I kind of expected it to be Steve and Nick, but I didn't expect it to be Wheeler.
Yeah.
For a relatively cheap cost.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking with this one.
I mean, Monahan's okay.
Yeah, but they're both kind of. I guess he doesn't have any ads, right? He's trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to
get some depth of his forwards because he really doesn't have that.
He kind of does now, I guess.
Yeah, but like his strength and his uniqueness was having the 2 goalies. Like he would have even been better off to trade Bobo and then pick up Shesterkin and run Shesterkin and Vasilevsky. That would have been a tandem that would have been really tough to beat.
Yeah, Vasilevsky was not the guy to trade.
No, he wasn't.
In my opinion, yeah.
And he went from saying absolutely not, I'm keeping him all year, the first 100 times I asked, to the last like 15 times I asked, he was maybe more willing to trade.
Fuck, so I wish I didn't stop asking.
I know, right?
I was asking for weeks, and then he told me, though, he would tell me if he became available.
Yeah.
I mean, he did not tell me.
Yeah, I wouldn't depend on anybody actually telling you.
Yeah.
I would, if I'm being honest, just stay on people.
No, I've learned my lesson, don't you worry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, speaking of which, a new trade has been proposed to me by Steve right now.
Oh, God. Oh, God, what is it?
It's me. It's basically, I get Huberdeau for like 4 picks, which is like a total of like 25 rounds.
What? What the?
Huberdeau for Trouba, and I get 3 13s, a 12. And he gets a 2nd, a 4th, a 5th, and a 10th.
Where's the difference in price from that to Wheeler?
Yeah, I don't know.
What? What's Huberdeau's rank?
16.
Okay.
But here's the thing with Huberdeau that gives him a little bit more value is that he is a 7th rounder.
Okay.
So like he can be a keeper.
Fair enough.
But like if I'm building for next year with keepers that way, I'm not trading away my picks. I think I get Matthews for cheaper than that.
Probably, yeah. Don't say the name, but are you willing to help me facilitate that trade we were talking about, or do I have to go through someone else?
You probably have to go somewhere else.
Okay.
I just the wave of my
Doesn't really make sense for you to do it,
no,
unless you're getting like
something good
that
back.
really makes it worth your time.
Yeah. I either need like a really big pick or
yeah. I don't even know if I want him that much either. Like, he's in the ranks of like 70, 80. Like, he's just above replacement level only because of his physicality. That's really all I'm looking for.
yeah, like he's great for what I have him for. Like I don't have a player like that with that role where you kind of do with Brady.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm saying too much, I don't know what you said, but don't say the name. But
Yeah. Yeah.
not that I don't think anyone watches this thing. At least not
I
till
think Nick does
he watches the full 2 hours.
Probably not, but
he might.
He probably goes to the
fantasy talk to see get the scoop.
Probably.
Nick, if you're watching this, you're not winning the President's Trophy.
Oh, that's a bold call.
It's going to Beer Buds.
You think? Eh?
Yeah.
Well, it looks as of right now. What's your matchup at? You winning?
I'm tied.
Oh, you're tied. So right now, yeah, we'll probably both clinch after this week.
The wrong thing. I'm gonna pull up the standings here.
It looks like this past week has really created that separation we've been waiting for. Not really, but a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Like I don't know. I need. I guess yeah. A tie will probably make me clinch. If Dank loses, then a tie will make me clinch.
Because there's only 18, 19...
This is a rough week, though, for me. I don't know if you've seen how my team's been performing, but I have 4 points this week so far.
Oh, wow. There's 6 points left on the table to get, but your goalies are playing well.
Yeah.
That could be your saving grace. But, yeah, so there's 6 points left on the table, and you're up on the playoffs by what? 4 points.
Yeah, 4 points right now.
So if you get a tie and
he loses, then I'm on 5 and with only 4 left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could be interesting here. Oh, Nick's got the win. 2 goalies was up on Nick, but Nick's taking it back again.
Yeah.
So
it's a big
if Nick beats 2 goalies, Joey loses. That's going to leave 14, 16, 16 for 6, 7, 8. So one team, it's almost like one of those teams isn't going to want to get in. You know what I mean? I think Brad's going to want to get in just because he's not going to be back next year, so you might as well try and get in and win some money.
Is that still, that's like for sure happening, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I confirmed that recently. And I asked him I just told him to tell me what he wanted, but I said, if you get eliminated and you're in consolation, are you still going to try and like set your lineups in the interest of the next guy? If you're just going to say fuck it and not set your lineups and stuff, then I'm going to take over your team and or tell Jesse to.
Yeah.
So I just said, like, I need your word. Like, are you through it till the end, regardless of your positioning, or are you just going to compete and then the day that you're eliminated, you don't care? And he said, I'm in it till the end.
Okay.
So we'll trust that that's the case.
I'm surprised he's only made 28 moves this year.
Yeah, he's been relatively inactive.
It's probably the reason why he's out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
that could be the difference in a couple of wins.
I'm not going to get into a whole lot, but our relationship soured a little bit.
Yeah,
from whatever. I mean, I feel bad about it. I wish it didn't get to that point, but I don't think it necessarily has much to do with why he's leaving the pool, because he let me know early on.
Yeah.
With him, I honestly get the impression that like fantasy is not necessarily as important anymore.
Yeah, it's not like killing someone's mother over. You're not going to do that.
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy. But I feel like because he just got married, I feel like he's trying to have some kids, and I feel like he's changed jobs and whatever. And like I know he's doing a lot of coaching and stuff. So like him and I used to always talk about the Leaf games and like throw opinions off each other. But like we stopped doing that because like he wasn't watching the Leaf games anymore because he was coaching and stuff. So like, if you can't watch the games and whatever, you almost care about fantasy less as well too.
It's true.
So like, I just feel like
here I am. I watch fucking any teams basically on a
Yeah,
night. I put on any
exactly.
game on a given night. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for him, just some things kind of shifted in his personal life, and instead of in year 2 being like, "Fuck, I really don't want to do this now," in year 3 and 4, he just like because he told me like
Yeah,
a month
earlier.
in,
I remember. Yeah.
right? So it was just kind of like, and that's what he said is like it's just not nothing against the setup, nothing against whatever. He just was like, "I'm not paying attention. I'm not."
I'm very interested in how this new changes for next year are gonna, how it's gonna change the pool.
I don't even remember which changes I confirmed.
There's gonna be 4 ads a week and
Okay.
one more defense slot.
Yeah, which I still don't even know.
I don't know if I'm a fan of it, to be honest, because the forward depth in the waiver wire is gonna be so big.
And like, if I'm being honest, if we change it to that, I'm going to go back to a 3 goalie system, and my fourth D is going to be a third goalie, and my third D is going to be a flex option.
Yeah,
So I'm still only going to carry 1 or 2 defensemen.
it's just gonna like forward. The forwards are already pretty deep. Even like the waiver wire, you're picking up a decent forward on Sundays and whatnot. Like top 2 lines usually.
Yeah.
So
But
like,
you also could go with a different philosophy and say, hey, if I have 2 strong defensemen, I can have an advantage there.
yeah, it's gonna be. I think it'll be good that there's a little bit of change. So you can't just like carbon copy.
Yeah. The 7 ads was neat in idea or in practice theory or whatever, but
Yeah.
in practice it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be.
I agree. Yeah, I liked it at the beginning, but now like you're getting to this point where it's just like you kind of have to use them.
Yeah.
I don't like.
Well, I'm running out of ads myself.
Yeah, I've been writing on 4 ads or so a week. Might need to use a few of this if I'm gonna get past Rundle.
Yeah, well, I'm
practice.
not going to finish top 2, so I do need that. Well,
It's a practice
say that.
matchup. This could potentially be my playoff matchup, me and Rundle. So this is like a warm up, and he doesn't have McDavid this time. He doesn't have McDavid, so.
Because I play Joey next week, you play Nick.
Yeah, I'm gonna get killed by Nick. Nick will destroy me.
And then Beer plays Rundle, so that's a big matchup for Rundle. Because if he misses that, that could open the door for somebody else to sneak in.
Yeah.
Maybe Dank, because he plays 2 goalies, 1 starter. So if he takes care of him and I take care of Joey, he's in. And then final week, Nick and Beer Buds play.
Yeah, that's good. That match right there is literally probably going to be for the President's Trophy.
Probably, yeah. Which will be interesting to watch.
Which is pretty sweet, yeah.
Because I can't. Yeah, there's no way I can win the Presidents.
No.
As soon as any of them get 1 point, I'm out.
Yeah, and Buds is just smashing Joey right now.
Smashing. So,
Joey, I think, has Flurry, doesn't he? And who got lit up yesterday, so he's pretty much. And his
actually,
other
it's going to be interesting because the 2 of them will probably win their next 2 weeks, and then they'll be going in at what would that be? 4 more points, so they'd be at 29.
Yeah.
So it'd be imagine they tied. How hilarious would that be? I mean, somebody would still win, but way to drop your ring. I saw that.
Oh, it's just honestly, it's a pop pab.
Oh, I thought it was your ring. I thought you took your ring off and were playing with it, and we're like, oh, oops.
No.
But yeah, I'm running out of moves, but I gotta keep. I don't want to use more than 79. But the thing that's going to be interesting, I don't know the answer, is if the ads restart for playoffs. It could be unlimited ads for the playoffs, still 7 per week max.
Yeah.
Or the max could include playoffs. It didn't specify anywhere.
I'm going to assume that it's not.
I'm going to assume it's the entire season,
yes,
including playoffs.
I would think so too.
That's the way I read it. And that's why I said to everyone, don't go using up your 100 ads and then get to the playoffs and not be able to add anybody because then you're screwed.
Fucking Steve was on.
I kept telling him, like, you're going to run out of ads and it's really not going to be good for you.
At least you warned him.
Yep.
We could have just sat here and watched him fall apart.
Yeah, well, like me messaging you today, as much as it can bite me in the butt, I like to try and make sure everybody knows as much information. If I'm trying to get somebody, obviously I'm not going to say shit. But
yeah,
if I know something that's out there and it should be fair, then I try to let people know.
Yeah.
But I mean, next year, if we're looking at next year, I don't know what Jesse's like. Have you ever done a hockey pool with Jesse?
He's been in one of our pools before.
Which one to see? What's his name?
He was 420 puckers.
Oh, okay. So he's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I think he came fourth or
fifth or something like that.
Yeah, like he's like my best friend. So like I talk to him like every day. So
will he be
at the very least,
he like to trade and stuff?
He might. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the one year he played with us, it was that Roto league we did.
Oh yeah, that annoying league.
Yeah. So
what I was gonna say is next year I'm not really worried about Ben. He wants to pay me for a draft list. I'm like, no. But I don't think like.
Why doesn't he just friggin' buy a magazine that tells you who to draft?
I know, right?
$10.
But I'm like, even if he hits on his draft picks, he's not going to be active next year. I don't think. Like he might be. I hope he is. But like, I feel like I can take advantage of his maybe just not complete inactivity, but lack of full activity.
Just so lack of adjusting mid-season to how you have to adjust, because you can't just stick with the same team you draft.
No, and I think the standings show that. I mean, Dylan's an outlier because of him trading off, but like Dan Coach, Joey, and Captain Clutch are the three teams that really didn't do anything this year. Well, Beer Buds and Rundles didn't do a whole lot. Well, I guess Rundles did a couple things, but yeah.
Beer Buds has been active enough on the waiver wire to win games, like definitely in goalies.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's why he's in it, right?
Yeah.
Like basically, I guess what I'm saying is that Beer Buds hasn't traded much, so he should be probably your top competition next year, along with Dylan. I would say that those are probably the three favorites next year.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably say, depending what Jesse does, if Joey learns and becomes more active, or Nick and I are your next teams. So that's 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, because like right now Joey's in a position where he's just going to be the exact same next year because he hasn't made a trade and he's not active and like picking. So he's just.
You also want to know a hidden benefit for me that's going to come down the road.
What?
Let's fast forward to next trade deadline.
Yeah. And
everybody's set up in their keepers, their first rounders, whatever. Nick and I are going to be the only teams that actually have draft picks available. Because we're not keeping guys in the first round, because we're not keeping guys in the second round, because we're not drafting those guys.
Yeah.
We're going to have those picks available. So if we want to trade our first rounder every year, we can. And because everyone's first rounder keeper, our second rounder is really only going to be 4 or 5 picks off our first round because of all the keeper slots already designated.
Yeah.
So we're going to have trade fodder later that other people don't.
Trade fodder?
We can keep every year, we can keep flipping these picks for a new fresh team, whoever's performing that year are healthy, where other people like
you guys aren't going to be as well. I'm a little worried for Nick. I think you're in a much better position than him.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried for him.
We like the same players, and I'll draft all my picks before he starts, so he'll just have all the scraps left that no one else wants. But if he's active, which he will be, he'll find guys off waivers, right?
He always does, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go with your strategy of keeping goalies late and you wait too late till
here's the thing. I might switch that for next year. If everyone's going late, I might do a second round, get Vasilevsky.
That's what I was thinking as my strategy, which I didn't mention earlier.
I have 2 second round picks. I would definitely consider Vasilevsky at this juncture.
I have offered Malkin around the league in the summer in a bigger deal to land a second rounder so that I can keep Vasilevsky instead of Malkin. So that way I'd keep Vasilevsky in the second round.
You might need to keep him if you just so you know. If you want to keep him.
I'm not worried if I don't, but I'm just debating, is my team stronger next year as Draisaitl, Malkin in the 3rd with Kachuk in the 8th, and either Samsonov in 10, which I probably won't end up keeping, or Bufflin maybe in the 11th, or nobody, or go with Vasilevsky in the second round. Because I know with my picks later on, I'm probably getting scrubs for goalies.
Well,
so
I don't know how this works too much.
Like a flex next year, I should be really hard to beat, right?
Isn't Malcolm basically a 3rd round, anyway?
Probably.
I don't know how this is going to play out. in the
second
fact
rounder.
that
Oh, wait,
there's
do I?
keepers. So like technically, say someone that would have went in the fifth round this year, he's more likely to go in like the fourth round next year, the third round, I think.
Sorry, say that again.
So because of the keepers, someone that went in the fifth round this year
Mm-hmm.
might move up a round because people are kept, and so his. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. And Malkin's ranked 27th.
It's probably
I
where he.
mean,
So like, yeah, but like because of there's a
rounder.
couple keepers, he might be high third round, late second round next year.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially.
But what's more value, Vasilevsky and having a stud Vasilevsky, but also committing to that,
Yeah.
or like that's just what I'm debating now.
Yeah.
But I'd also have to get my hands on a second rounder, which I don't have. But I also do have 2/3, so I'm sure I could give up a pick or two somewhere else to try and move that up a slot.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I've done a lot of thinking on how I'm building my team next year, and it's been a lot of switching things around. So
Yeah, my keepers are almost entirely different. The only thing that has not swayed at all was my Draisaitl for a third. That's the one thing that's always been a constant.
And that's for me too. Eichel for a third is not moving.
Which are probably two of the best keepers, I would think, for value.
Props
and
to you.
Production. Eichel's, I had him in the third round in my other 12-team league, and I was like, I know that's.
I got the 3 players I wanted first 3 rounds.
Who were they again?
Kane, Stamkos, Eichel.
Nice.
That's who I wanted.
I wanted
like my top
McKinnon, Carlson, and Vasilevsky, and I just missed out on Vasilevsky.
My top 5 picks were all top 30 players.
Yeah.
Until Gensel got hurt.
Yeah. You've been killed this year with injuries. If you didn't get crippled with injuries and you were not more aware, but if people made you more involved in the trade talks, I think you.
If I didn't lose Gensel, I would have kept Kane, and I'd be picking up Matthews right now, and I'd be a weapon.
Yeah.
And Kemper.
Yeah. But even then, if with your other goalies, you probably could have either been in the Vasilevsky market or tried to get some other upgrade.
Oh yeah, I would have. I was okay with you guys blowing your loads early. I was gonna wait in the weeds and then blow my load.
You probably shouldn't tell too many people that. It's kind of creepy, man.
Whatever, man. I like to do it from the weeds.
You don't want to be Reese McGuire, okay?
And I think with
that?
No.
Okay, you know Reese McGuire, right? The catcher for the Blue Jays.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he was arrested today for
blowing his load in some weeds
in his car.
And with that note, all right, I'm gonna wrap it up now because I'm gonna go eat some dinner and get ready for bed. To be honest.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, nice talking to you. We'll keep until next week. Later,
yeah, man,
brother.
sounds good. Yeah, have a good night.